Hello everybody, I'm going to try to go over some core basics of advertising. At the end of the day, what I'm going to try to end with is use me to do your advertising. You can get there, take what I'm about to say, use it yourself, or go, that was neat, and Bob's an idiot, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, or that was neat, and it was more than I want to try learning, and okay, I'm just going to let Bob handle it. But we're set up. David's there. I've got phenomenal, blessedly gift from heaven, Richard Yeager, that helps us with making things. And there will be some local stuff we can't handle, but the bulk we can and will. End of day, results speak for themselves. I have yet to ever do an ad buy I'm aware of that failed. I will tell you there's one market I'm aware of where mine worked, but I saw other strategies work as well. And that, in all sincerity, I believe was Wichita. So would I have changed what I didn't do? No. But am I very happy with what Jess has been able to put in place? Yes. Are there other formats that can work? Of course. Still, is there more than one way to skin a cat? Absolutely. End of the day, do something. Do something, do something, do something. I haven't seen anybody, in all sincerity, fail that was doing something. But today, I'm going to do my very best to try to wipe away what I view as some of the misunderstandings and expectations that cause people to not advertise correctly. This is not as structured as it should be, but I'm going to try not to ramble or go too long. Very first, number one, most important thing I could tell you, and I'm going to put this into the side over here. I won't use it for the most. But number one truth. Your current ad guy slash gal slash rep, if you prefer, is an idiot. Is a complete freaking moron idiot. Is the dumbest putz walking the face of the earth. Quit listening to him. If you're still listening to him, fire him. There you go. Did I offend you? Good. Am I wrong about you? Oh no, you mean I missed 1 out of 10,000? You're 1 out of 10,000. Instead of me feeling bad about that, I'm going to be happy for you that you're that unique. Otherwise, your ad person sucks. Nothing else to say about it. And you know why? You know how I know this? Because if I have my kid and I send them to the most prestigious, greatest, popular, everybody loves it, everybody believes it, everybody follows in, this is the astronomy school of the universe. I mean, oh. And it's what, 1462, and there's some idiot over there saying the earth is round and the earth is not the center of the universe. Hell, stone that SOB. My kid went to the best. My kid's a genius. And when he comes out and tells everybody the earth's center of the universe and the earth is flat, I know it's true. That's what your ad guy is doing. Your poor, wonderful, sweet, loving, smart, fat, skinny, sexy, ugly, whatever, ad rep, your friend, went to the greatest school and has been trained by the minds that have been saying the truths of the centuries of the universe. And the problem is they still think the earth is the center of the universe and that the earth is flat. Thus, they're an idiot. There you go. Point made. Take it, use it, don't care. That's not what we're going over today. Next, there's a movie came out long time ago. Fun little movie. Not great, but fun. Starring, I think his name was Cusack. I could be wrong. If I am, somebody feel free to tell me. And it was called The Sure Thing. About a guy trying to find a girl. The Poovy poster got all those young fellas to go because there's some pretty girl in the bikini sitting there. All fancy super. It was a sure thing. Let me tell you something about a sure thing. Bull. There is no such thing as a sure thing. Ladies, if a guy is a sure thing, A, what is wrong with you? B, he's a man whore. That's not a sure thing. That's a piece of trash. Guys, if there's a woman, that's a sure thing. Sad, broken, needs love, needs support, needs therapy. Not a sure thing. That is not a thing. So if I was offensive by getting off track there, that I truly apologize for. I wasn't trying to make it. What I'm trying to do is hammer through your head. Sure thing is a myth. Period. Exclamation point. Boom. Blow it up. All the cute emojis. Sure thing is a myth. Sure thing is a lie. Sure thing is an absolute myth. If all you're going for is the sure thing, if all you're willing to tackle is the sure thing, if what you're trying to chase down is the sure thing, what you're really chasing down is a broken, corrupted vessel that can't exist, and if it does, it only exists because you're trying to frame things, to structure them in such a way as to make it seem sense. And at the end of the day, when you look back, you wonder, why was the sure thing not pleasurable? Why was it not fulfilling? Why was it not complete? To switch back to a proper business metaphor, why was the sure thing not profitable? End of the day. Because it's a myth. It doesn't exist. So we drop to the second level. And the second level is, okay, I'm not trying to advertise to reach a sure thing, Bob. I know that doesn't exist. What I'm trying to advertise to reach is the cherry. I want the cherry. I want the cherry customer. I want the cherry client. I don't want to pull down leaves. I don't want to pull down sticks. I want to get branches. I'm not looking for the pecans. Ooh, fun twist. I just want the cherry. I want to reach cherry. That's it. And you know why your guy is an idiot? Because that's what he's selling. He's selling the cherry. What's the first thing your ad rep says? Who's your client? Who are you trying to reach? And the ones that think they're real sharp and they're real smart and they're real cool and they're real brilliant, who are you trying to reach? Ha! Here's what I know. You're trying to reach the wrong one. You're missing it. This is the range for you. Oh, wow. Oh, you blew my mind. You're the greatest ever. Hey! Here's the neat new thing because of our laser focus and our special selection, what we can do online. And oh my gosh. And you don't understand, it's cost per sale. It's cost per, and by the way, they're right, it is cost per sale. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's got to be cost per sale with some relative sense of quality. Because at the end of it, chasing the cherry is trying to chase the sure thing. It doesn't exist. You want to know the most frustrating thing I ever hear in my life? The thing that just, oh my gosh, even in my older, bored, no longer have the capacity to fight older age. The thing, somebody that can say that I just, rage. I get upset to the point my wife will avoid me for hours because it just takes time to calm down. It's, well, all I'm getting are bad / low quality leads. I'm getting a little bit of fuzz boiling in my head just writing it and admitting these words exist in the human language. What this tells me, and yes, I'm going to offend 3 or 4 of you, you don't know what the frick you're talking about. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's the most moronic thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my gosh. And if you work for me, shut up. Because you're a moron. If you don't work for me, then I apologize. Ignore that last part because I do want to be semi-diplomatic. There's no goddamn such thing. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Playful way to try to play around this. Baylor University, little fun history. World War II, Texas A&M, now this big renowned thing, but it's still got that cool tradition, all that fun stuff with Texas A&M because they were core. What core meant was they were military. Texas A&M was a man school, almost, period, exclusively up until late 80s. Late 70s, some girls started going, but I'm telling you guys, check it. It was massively male. Up until the late 80s, it was still massively only people that were going into the military. It was cool as heck. Phenomenal place. Baylor University, private little Baptist school, at the time of war, World War II, this range, Baylor was largely, where am I going to send my sweet little Christian daughter? I'm this wealthy Texas person, and I want her to be safe. Well, we're going to send her to Baylor. Your sons were either already in war or went to Texas A&M to prepare for. Well, this created this little gap. You have all these nice, wonderful young men that want a girl to date, and you have all these sweet, beautiful little girls that had no guy to date. So you'd like to think there were neat tea parties and laying of cards. Not necessarily. Here's the cool tradition that built up between Texas A&M and Baylor University in the 30s, 40s, 50s. That, by the way, continued all the way to when I was at school there in the early, mid-80s. Sadly today, maybe not sadly, but to me, sadly today, this tradition has faded. And it was called, oh my gosh, what was it called? It wasn't circling, roundup, whatever. But it was, the guys would come on the weekend of the game. And on Friday night, the night before the game, Texas A&M men would come to Baylor's campus. And if they saw a girl or a group of girls, they jumped out and surrounded them in a big circle and would sing a song or sing a chant. And the girls had the choice of A, pick one guy from the circle and give him a kiss, and then she'd be let go, or B, not do so until the song was done, and then to be let go, she had to kiss every guy in the group. It's actually a very fun tradition. To the point, by the time I was in school, the guys from A&M were no longer welcome. They didn't come on campus. But the guys that lived on campus, we still did it. So the Friday night before that game, you had your roundup. It was you ran out and all the little gals coming from the library or going back to their dorm. And, you know, the ones I loved were the ones that would go in the dorm and then they'd sneak out. I mean, there were a couple wonderful, I love you ladies, that, I mean, they never quit going building to building. They were traveling all night. You don't know the one I love next? The ones that sat there and got that little smirk and gleam in their eye and just sat there and let the whole circle finish the song because they were going to give us all a kiss. Now, all this is said to play around and try to pull off some of the heat of what I said earlier, but to go to a fascinating thing I learned. By the way, if anybody sees my wife watching this, delete it quickly. Don't judge a book by its cover. There was that one gal, oh, I'll never forget. Oh, what a beauty. Every guy would have given his left toe. And there was this sweet little homely gal. I've only had 2 phenomenal kisses in my life, and the best one is truly my wife. But the second was this one little gal, which I would have never asked on a date or anything else. Who you looked like, what your status was, what the expectation was, had nothing to do with what was real. Now, there's a lot more play and a lot more silliness in that story, and it is a fun story in my mind. It probably just bored you to death. But the point is this. We all want to judge the sweet little gal before she gave us a kiss. Oh, you fool. Oh, you steaming, crazy fool. You did not know that, at least to that date, the best kiss of your life, the one which would make all others before stink and the ones in the future struggle to keep up, you wouldn't have known if not for blessing and luck. I.e., there's no such thing as a bad lead. I.e., there's no such thing as a bad kiss. They all flow together. And you don't find out until you find out. Here's another truth. Make it a little simpler. Our goals, the numbers we work off of. 10, 4, 1. The ultimately being 10, 1. If I sell 1 out of 10, can we do this reverse? How many did I not sell? Bob, I called this one, he's an idiot. It's just garbage. I mean, he wants to remodel his shed. He's only got $400. Awesome, I got rid of one of those. I've only got to get rid of 8 more. Quit trying to think of the one you're trying to win and start thinking of the 9 you're trying to get rid of. What's the old saying of the sculpture when he was making David? I chipped away everything that didn't look like David. I didn't take mud and build David up. I took the stone and took away everything that didn't look like David. Every now and then, instead of taking from mud and building up to the one cell, think of it as taking from the rock and removing everything that doesn't look like a cell. You got to have some trash. And your other problem is you want to go chasing cherry, all you did was change the type of trash. The big rich person that would rather spit than talk to you, if some miracle you managed to get their name so you could call them so they could hang up, I'd just well have the guy with the shed. And I'm not upset about either because I got to have a no. I got to have a no. Curiosity, dropping back to that one point, what do you think happened when we surrounded the little gal and she would not, and her look was this? And she wasn't going to pick somebody and by gum, that song was over. You opened up and you let her go. We weren't freaks. Did it ever happen? Yeah, it happened. You don't know what you have. You've got to get them. You've got to go get them. The other is you don't know how your ads are going to work. If you're doing a one-shot ad, we have one bullet. Oh my gosh, I change everything I'm saying. And don't listen to me. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to starve to death and die. But if you only have one bullet and you got to feed a family of 6, man, that's a whole different beast. I'm talking about the fact that we got some seeds and we need to feed a family of 6 for a lifetime. I'm not talking about it's, dead of winter and we're all starving to death and going to die. If you're at that point, if you're down to one bullet, we've got a lot more to fight through. What you want to reach is people. What you want are numbers, because here is the thing. Good leads, cherry leads, garbage leads. The reality is we have these numbers from 28 years, and you know what holds up? 10-1. 10-1. You want to know where this does start to falter? It's not the people getting these, it's the people chasing this. The ones that struggle and get the 10.5, the 20.5 are the folks chasing those leads. It's not these. So you want to know what really is the garbage lead? It's the crap you're doing here. Why? Because you're paying too much and you're getting too few. You need volume. You need numbers. Let me ask you this. Is it better to get 5 leads and 1 sale or 50 leads, and I know how can you have a half, I don't care, 2.5 sales? And by the way, same total cost. $2,000 each. 10 grand total. What's that? $200 each. 10 grand total. Which is better? Here's the thing. There are some out there, and I know some people like this. I know some salespeople like this, and I can even make cases where in their world it's right. It's this one. Because their thing is, man, I only deal with the nicest people, the cleanest, the prettiest. I don't have to work very hard. I mean, I'm only making 5 phone calls. Life's pretty easy. It's a pretty profitable deal. I mean, that's my speed. That's my style. I've got an engineer I work with, unfortunately, he'd rather be dead than anything but that. That said, I'm this. I invest 10 grand and I can make 20, or I invest 10 grand and I make 50. I'll take 50. But I will tell you, this is a lot more work. In this world, should I call 15 calls a day after 6 months and to say, yeah, probably should. Am I going to? No. You know what this guy's going to do? He's going to call each of them 2, to 3 times. And he's probably going to do his presentation on the phone. You know what this guy's going to do if he's going to succeed? Because there are guys that'll bite. Here's where it does die. Quick little side note. Where it dies, this guy goes, okay, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy them. I didn't like talking to those people. I had a lot of messages. I didn't get home and see the kids. I had to skip a soccer game. That sucked. That was uncomfortable. Somebody yelled at me. I had one hang up. I had one tell me, how'd you get my number? Oh, it was awful. You get these and you don't do the lot of work, you're dead. Because it's not a one-step process. There is not an ad in the world that exists that will do your work for you. You're like, well, that's not true, Bob. If I was at McDonald's, you could run an ad and all they do is come and order a hamburger. Somebody's got to clean the store. Somebody's got to manage the employees. Somebody's got to order the beef, make sure it gets cooked, make sure the fries get dropped. BS. There's no such thing. Oh, well, power bar. So somebody had to stock the shelves. Somebody had to go and talk the local store into being willing to carry the product and work out the negotiating what they pay for the floor space where it's set. No. There's no such thing as an ad that will do the work. It can just get the interest so you get a chance to work. So you got a pool to churn in. If your feet are dirty, you need some water. A couple drops going to be tough. Big old bucket of water, you may have to churn hard, but by gum, you're going to get clean. You have got to know what your advertising job is, and it's to get somebody to look at you. Just look at me. Give me your eye contact for a second. At least I'm in the game, baby. At least I'm in the game. And that's what you want. Get in the game. Get in as much as you can, as often as you can. You hear these NBA players talk. What's the whole thing they care about? Minutes. Minutes, minutes, minutes. Why? Because I got to have seconds. I got to be in the game. I cannot score. I cannot defend. I cannot assist from the bench. Get in the game. And oh, well, I'm the three-point shooter. I'm the guy that comes in and shoots. Wouldn't you hate to have that job? Wouldn't you hate to be the guy in the NBA that was the three-point expert that they want to bring in for 60 seconds to get 9 quick points? That would suck. Number one, if I'm really that good, why aren't I playing the whole game? Number two, if I'm really that good and I can't play defense, still should be playing the whole game. Golden State should have proven something to us. But number three, what about your off night? What about the fact that even though you're a 60% shooter, what if last night you made them all? You know what that means percentage-wise tonight? You're going to miss them all. And then all of a sudden they don't have confidence in you. They don't bring in. You're sitting there, I worked on this skill set and I'm making nothing. You need the minutes. Get in the game. Be in the game. Be playing. This is how you get in the game. And how many calls is this guy going to make? He's going to hopefully make 100 to 200 calls a day. Well, Bob, I'm only getting 50 leads a month. Well, you're probably not going to call that much first 6 months. And you're probably going to be calling closer to this after 6 months. But after 2 years, you're going to be able to blow that up. Because that lead I got today, I'm calling him today, I'm calling him in 2 days. I'm calling him again 3 days after that, I'm calling him again 3 days after that, I'm calling him again 5 days after that, I'm calling him again 7 days after that, 7 days after that, 7 days after that, 14 days after that, and then once a month till hell freezes over. Or at least for the next 2 years, and then maybe I throw him into the once every 6 month pile. I only need 10 leads to be over a period of a month to be where I have 10 calls a day I have to make. In 5 months on 50, I'm already at 50. And that's without follow-up. That's without, hey, it was the guy that actually got in. Because remember, it's 10 for 1. How many follow-up calls each day do I have for the people that I got in for the presentation? And then the one I signed, and then the other. This is total calls. You are churning, you are spinning, you are in the game, you are playing. You know how you do that? Mass, volume, buckets, bring them in. You know how you get that? You cast a huge net. You want to catch a specific fish, you better know, man, you better be a genius one to work your fanny off. You better know the bait, the tackle, the water, the conditions, everything. You want to catch fish? Get a big net. Seriously, you ever go casting? You hear the guides freak out, oh, get that one back in, we're breaking the law. But man, did you catch some fish. Great way to go. Advertising needs to be about bulk, and it needs to be about getting as many in as you can. Are you reaching the wrong people? BS. There's no such thing. Well, Bob, all I'm reaching is 5-year-olds. That's awesome. I think almost every 5-year-old I ever met has a mom and a dad. Most of them have an aunt and uncle and grandma and grandpa. And they start walking around singing your stinking song, the parents remember it. Oh, wow, all I'm reaching is a bunch of broke old trailer house people. You know what's crazy? That's my relatives. Guess who my relatives are related to? If there's a one of y'all that doesn't have one of those people as a relative that you see at least 3 times a year, I don't believe you or your family's too small. And by the way, you know who else they are? They're the people that are the parents of the kids that are my kids' friends on the Little League sports teams that we see all the time. That I sit next to in the stands at the high school and junior high games. That I run into at the professional games I go to, that shop in the Walmart, that, oh, I don't like to buy groceries at Walmart, but I'm still somehow in one every month. They know people. And you know something else? There's a crudload of them that are sick of it, and they're looking for a way to climb up, and you're the answer. You're the solution. You're what they have been waiting for the good Lord to send them for the opportunity. Reach out to them. Let them know. Let them know you exist and give them the chance to climb up. You will be amazed at what is there. Wow, I only reach the rich people. How am I? It's awesome. The rich people have people come in. They're in a $10 million house. They're never going to do it again. Do you know how many people come to them for advice? Well, you're not in my game, but I know a way you can get there. Guys, there's no end of where it reaches and who knows and who hears. What do you want? You've got to have frequency, you got to have drive, and you got to reach the people. Most important thing you will ever do in advertising the second most important thing, I may have spelled the massage, is your message. Is it pretty? Is it sleek? Is it professional? Is it what you like? Is it what your children like? Is it what your dog likes? I don't care. What matters, number one, believe it or not, and I know a guy I respect the heck out of that's probably smarter than me on this, and he would tell you have to reverse the two. Maybe he's right. If you want to say, BS, Bob, the number one most important thing is message and the number two is frequency. All right. I don't agree, but all right. The reality is, it's kind of like saying the most important thing is the water. No, the most important thing is the coffee. Beans, excuse me. Because it's hard to have coffee without water and beans. Every single thing about advertising after those two is crap. So how am I reaching them and how am I going? Last but not least, because we've rambled too long. Oops, dropped, pardon. Cost per lead. You need to work off of a worst case scenario. And yeah, you could make a case that worst case scenario is $500 per lead. But my experience is worst case scenario is $350 per lead. Best case scenario is $100 per lead. Can you at times do better? Yeah. And by the way, we are talking about bulk advertising. I'm not talking about, well, Bob, I got 100 leads at home show and they only cost me $15 each. Not the same thing. Bulk advertising, okay? So if we go worst case scenario, and it's $350 a lead, and if we're average, and we sign 10%, our cost per sale is $3,500. What if you're not average? What if you need time to become average? What if you kind of suck? Double it. So your worst case scenario is at $7,000 per lead. Now there's two ways to go about this. Way number one, my God, I can never afford to sell. Number two, I got to work my math backwards. Let's see. My rent's $5,000. My royalties are $3,000. My truck is $1,500. Blah, blah, blah is $15,000. So I add them together, I'm $25,000 a month. I want to make $15,000 a month. That means I need $40,000. Well, my average sale only makes me 20, so I need 2 sales to get there. Except, wait a second, I need $14,000 to get that. So now I'm going to say, you know what? I need $61,000 to cover my budget and my ads. So that means I got to sell 3 a month. That means my ad budget is $21,000. Because I am worst case scenario and I'm not very good yet. Those of you who just had a heart attack, that's how I do math. I do it back to front, not front to back. That's the way to factor. Here's what's crazy. You got an ad budget like this, I can guarantee you will be this, not that. Your expensive stuff is when your ad budget's $3,000. That's when it's tough. That's when it's tight. That's when it gets the high end. When you have enough money to start to play, i.e. north of $8,000, $9,000 a month, when you have enough money to play at that, that's when you start getting into this world. Here's a little quirk though. You're like, well, that's awesome. I don't want to do just that. I want to do 6. Now we start to get tough because there are, no matter how big your net is, just so many fish in the sea. Because here's what's crazy. First circle of leads of influence is pretty cheap. It's cheap. It's pretty easy. Circle number 2 costs the same. Here's the problem with circle number 2. Circle number 2 costs the same, but half of it's worthless because you'd already bought it. So it just got pretty dang expensive. You want to know what sucks? Circle number 3, again, cost usually about the same. But 3/4 of it you already bought. So it's stupid expensive. You start going from that, wow, $100 a lead to $200 a lead to $350 a lead, and these fish are starting to seem real lean. You do reach a point where you've saturated, and you've got to know that. Do we have anybody that is starting to saturate? With the exception of Oklahoma City, I don't know of a single market that has reached that stage. So I don't think it's a fear you have yet, but it is a fear that can come up. So end of day, you've got to advertise. You've got to advertise. Work your budget backwards for me just once. Just once. How much would you have to advertise? Go worst case scenario. Last but not least, as we say this, and as you judge your advertising, because if you do this, you still don't trust me, you still don't like it, and you're still not crazy. if your ad rep is an idiot, your clients, your prospects, your leads, I'm going to overstate this. I want to pre-state that, tell you that, are liars. They are not intentionally liars. They do not mean to lie. Thus, they are not really liars, thus overstated it. But what they are is human and they don't know. So what do? We're like, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to do it. All right. We're going to do it. We're going to have. We're going to run it. We're going to run it. We're going to We're going to go, yeah. Okay, tell me what to do, Bob. All right, I'm going to do it. Bob, your stuff's crap. I paid $7,000 and I only got 20 leads and they all suck. Well, how do you know that? Because I look at your numbers and you paid $7,000 and every January for the last 3 years you'd averaged 20 leads and this January you had 70. So it seems to me we got 50. No, Bob, no, because I asked every one of them and only 20 told me it was off of TV. How many of you told you radio? 8. How much you spend on radio? Never been on radio. Oh, no, Bob, no. You got to understand. My reputation's phenomenal now. It's incredible. It's all because of how sexy I am and how cute my ass is when I walk. That's why I'm getting them. So if we hadn't run the ads, would you have had 50 is what you're telling me? You betcha. Pull the ads. Boop, 20. Why? BS, dude. They don't know. You want to know the best way in the world to have no idea where your clients came from? Ask your client. They don't know. They mean to, they want to, they don't know. The only way to judge is true scientific tests of do, then have the wealth and the stupidity to stop doing and measure over a long, strong tick. When I tell y'all I've got advertising knowledge that's the most expensive probably in the history of the world, I ain't lying. I have got, I don't know how many millions. Good golly, Richard. I mean, by 2005, we'd already spent, what, over $2.5 million testing and learning this stuff? We're in excess of probably 11, 12 million of just marketing experiments to find out what works. If y'all can't hear him, he's nodding his head, yeah. I don't know if anyone, college degrees cost money, bull. This knowledge costs money. It's how we got to know what we know. Clients have no idea. All you can do is test it and check. But when you sit there and you say, well, all right, fine, another 50. But the 20 that remembered TV all sucked. So in the history, every January, you've averaged 1 contract, and this January you signed 4. Well, Bob, again, that's because of my cute fanny. Come on, man. Come on. End of the day, you want to know what works? Did I do the lot of work? If you got this and you failed, sorry, ma'am, your fault. Your fault. You didn't do the lot of work. Takes a lot of freaking work. I can give you all the building blocks in the world. If you're not going to sit your fanny down and build something out of it, it ain't my fault you don't have your Lego Space Star Wars castle. Takes a lot of stinking work. But I guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you take this and you do this, this at the end of the month is all we got to measure and all we got to care about. So how many calls did I make today? I can lie on that, people. I was talking to one of my folks that has me manage their place. And I told him, here's the struggle. Your numbers help you know where to help somebody hone their craft and develop their ability. But they only help you to the extent they're telling the truth. So the end of the day, you can only judge the front and the end. At the end of the day, all I can truly judge is this how many seeds I gave you and this is the crop you produced. I can help make you a better weeder. I can help make you a better planter, or sower, fertilizer, whatever imagery you want to use here. But if you lie to me about what you did, because I'm not going to be there to stand over you all day long, that's on you. So at the end of the day, you can only judge end results. But if somebody is real and they're honest and they're fair, then it comes to here. If you are truly making your calls and you are not running a minimum of 30, preferably 40 to 50% lead to presentation ratio, we need to address how you're making your calls and how you're doing it, because you're not doing them as well as you could. Everyone can be taught this skill. Is it exactly the same for everyone? No! Can I teach you the skill? Yes. So that's number one. Why do we track number of calls made? Because if your lead to presentation ratio in there, the first problem is almost always you ain't making enough calls. The second is the quality of how you're doing it. Seriously, first, I don't care about your quality first. How many are you making? Oh, Bob, I mean, come on, realistically, you didn't really mean it. 20 calls a day, that's exhausting. Oh my gosh, no, it's not. That's number one. Number two is the quality. If you do one and then we work on two, I guarantee you, you're going to have your lead to presentation result. Presentation to signed contract, if it's less than 10%, it's all about, first, quality of presentation, second, the follow-up to close. Both hugely important, but always start with the quality of the presentation. Because you should be doing such a phenomenal, easy job in the presentation that 5% of them just walk in and hand you the dadgum money. The other 5% take a little bit of work. That's to get to the 10. And if you're really great at one and really great at two, you're probably closing half. And your numbers are insane, and your biggest struggle is the next, which is, if I'm getting them signed and I'm not closing them at the bank. There's a whole lot of aspects there, but it's usually how are you handling the designer and the lender, and how well are you managing the client's fears that they have running through their heart throughout this stage. There are stages there, but guys, it starts with a lot of work. Because guess what? That's a lot of work. Because I'm sitting there running through your own head. You're going, good gosh, Bob, I didn't want to work 60 hours a week. Oh, sorry. But you mean I got to make 200 calls a day, and I got to do 4 presentations a day, and I got to sign a contract every day, and I got to do follow-ups, and I got to stay in touch with clients as they're trying to figure out their plans and deal with their emotional turmoil and fear of signing on for a multi-$100,000 contract, and I got to do it all. Yeah, that's the gig. Well, I'm only going to make $200,000-300,000 a year of personal income. Yeah. I view that as a lot. This is advertising, this is structure, this is how it works. If you would like any help or advice on flowing through, let me know. My personal advice, and some of you just go ahead and turn it off now if you haven't already. My personal advice is, I've gotten sick of it, so I've just said we'll do it. We started a company. We will handle your ad buy. We will get them made. It is a minimum of $3,500 per franchise territory. I won't do it for less because it's not enough to play ball. Yes, any new franchise, it's a requirement. It's not even an option. I'm sick of saying your minimum marketing, and I'm just saying this is your minimum marketing that I'm going to handle for you. If you want to go above and beyond, God bless you, do it. You want me to handle it for you? Great. If not, great. Don't care. This is the minimum I'm going to handle. If there are any of you out there that would like me to handle yours that are not required to, let me know. We're more than happy to do it. Yes, we're going to have the exact same ad fee as every other ad agency because I got to pay David and Richard somehow, and rent and everything else. But that is a system and that is a structure. If you want to learn to do it yourself, I'll help you all I can. If you want to do it the easy way, we're a bargain. And in all sincerity, I hope more do, because we will build a brilliant synergy when we start having the same ads running in multiple markets nationwide. Imagine the power of the person that wanders from Oklahoma City to Texas, to Carolina, to Seattle, to Kansas City, to Illinois, to Indiana, that somehow sees the same ad. The strength and power of that brand and logo becomes so much deeper and more powerful. And it becomes that much stronger and builds that much more confidence, so your lot of work becomes even less. Okay, rambled enough. Apologies to those offended. Apologies to those I didn't offend enough. And if any of y'all stayed through this that should have been short and instead was long, I can't believe it. I love you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.